So it's time for my January wrap up. I have read 7 books this month, 6 physical books and 1 audiobook. So I am going to go over those, review them for you from least favorite to the most favorite. Let's go. Starting with my girl, Lisa Jewell. I really love Lisa Jewell. She is a great writer. She's a great thriller author, but I have to say this book was boring. The story just kept dragging on and on and on. Now, I will say that it was enough to keep me coming back, but getting halfway through the book, I just kind of felt like I was ready for it to be over. And I wouldn't really classify this as a thriller, but I would say that it was maybe a 3, just because I love Lisa Jewell and her writing is really good. Just the story just kind of fell flat. The ending kind of fell flat for me, but again, love Lisa Jewell books. Next is Do What Godmother Says by L.S. Stratton. Now, I would say that this is a good book once I kind of stepped away from the mindset that it was supposed to be a thriller. I kind of got the feeling it was going to be like a psychological thriller, horror, but I didn't really get those vibes. I will say that the writing is really good. This was the first L.S. Stratton book that I read. The story, it keeps you intrigued. I like how she balances the present and the past and ties them both together. And I really, really love the ending of this book. And she is a African-American author, and I do plan on reading more about her. I would give this maybe a 3.5. Yeah, I think 3.5. The Arrangement, Kirsten Magdalin. Now, this book came highly, highly, highly recommended, and I think it was a good book. Now, what I did like about it is that it was a quick read. I finished it in no time. If I hadn't been sick one of those days, I probably would have finished it in a shorter time, but it's a really, really quick read. I actually kind of found it a little bit funny. I don't know if it was necessarily supposed to be funny, but I found it a little bit funny. But I will say that the ending did shock me. I didn't necessarily see it coming. Like, I thought I was on the right track because, you know, once you read thrillers for a while, you can kind of predict what's going to happen. I didn't quite predict it to go that way. So I was actually recommended to listen to this in an audiobook, but I just decided to go ahead and get the book when I found it at Barnes & Noble. So this one I would give maybe 3.75. The most current book that I finished was the new piece by Freida McFadden, The Crash. I liked it. I've kind of seen mixed reviews about it already, but I think for me, I expect certain things from Freida McFadden books. So I expect, 1, it's going to be a quick read. 2, the protagonist is going to frustrate you to no end. It's going to be kind of cheesy, and it's going to be kind of hit or miss if the ending is going to get you. Now, for me, I thought the ending fell a little flat, but it was entertaining, and I did overall kind of like the way it ended. Again, very quick read, and it was enjoyable. It was an enjoyable read, so I'd give this one maybe 3.95. So my girl Lisa Jewell redeemed herself with this one, Watching You. Now, at first, when I first started reading it and getting into it, I probably would have rated it a 3. But when I kind of set aside my preconceived notions of what the book was supposed to be, I really got into the story. And so, you know, once I kind of changed that, then it really pulled me in. One thing I think Lisa Jewell does really well is she balances multiple characters in her book without it getting confusing. I will say that I did like the ending for this one. I would say that it's predictable, but in a good way. My absolute favorite book that I have read this month, Kill for Me, Kill for You, Steve Kavanaugh. Now, this is the first Steve Kavanaugh book that I've read, and I cannot wait to read more because this man knows how to write suspense. Drew me in right from the beginning. It kept my attention. He knows how to like give you that anticipation, and you're kind of sitting on the edge of your seat. And the ending was not as great as I hoped it would be, but the rest of the book kind of made up for it. And I did like the twist. Everybody knows a good thriller is going to have a good twist, and I did like the twist in this one, and I thought he brought it together perfectly. I'm going to give this one a 4.95 only because the ending fell a little bit flat for me, but it's going to be hard for me to top this one this year. And this one is probably one of the best thrillers I've read, period. So the last book that I'm going to review is the audiobook that I listened to. It's another Freida McFadden, and it was The Widow's Husband's Secret Life. There it is. I love this book because it was a satire, so it had me in stitches the entire time. I do not recommend driving while listening to this book. I was laughing so hard that I was crying. It was hilarious. Freida McFadden kind of picks at herself and kind of makes fun of the genre and of her books. It just made me kind of love her even more. So that wraps up my reviews for January. Again, I have some ideas of what I want to do for the month of February, and so I will be back to introduce those books that I'm going to read for February, and I'll do a review at the end of the month. So peace out.